Something horrible is happening in Russia, and not just on the battlefield. Cities are darkening without bombs or blackouts. The internet flickers, freezes, then disappears. Websites freeze, social media feeds get stagnant, VPNs are outlawed, and information is choked. It feels like millions of Russians were cut off from the world. No glitch here. It's control. This is intentional stillness. As the battle spreads into Russia, the Kremlin tightens its hold on dissent and reality. Tonight, we explain how Russia is shutting down the internet, why Putin is afraid of the truth, and how this digital blackout is linked to a wave of sabotage, paranoia, and military disasters shaking his regime. Russia experienced another internal blow in the past 24 hours. Over 1,140,000 Russian soldiers died in the special military operation. Nearly 1 million lives were lost for one man's desire. Yesterday, 960 more soldiers joined that sad total. It's not simply soldiers falling. Russian hardware is crumbling. 2 tanks, 3 armored vehicles, and 25 artillery systems were destroyed in one day. Worse, Ukraine's drones hit 2 tiny but symbolic oil refineries in Ulyanovsk and Mariel Republic. The Strilinzad chemical plant, Stavropol Krai gas processing plant, and Bryansk 750 kV substation were attacked next. Each blow weakens the Russian military machine and the appearance of power. The real panic was in Crimea. Ukrainian drones attacked the thermal power plant in occupied Simferopol, causing explosions. A few kilometers north, the A10 oil store caught fire. In October, 5 large fuel tanks were damaged at this site. Twin hits in less than a month sent a statement. Nothing's safe. Online blackouts ensued as the fire swept through the night sky. After a tumultuous combination of propaganda and panic, Russian telegram circuits went silent. Internet speeds dropped in occupied Crimea. Network limits, deep packet filtering, and communication jamming for security were reported. Please note that this was not about protecting people. Protecting Putin's narrative was the goal. As explosions rocked captured territory, unrest spread across Russia. A huge fuel truck burned in Chelyabinsk. An accident was declared. The United Front of Resistance, an anti-Kremlin group in Yekaterinburg, claimed responsibility for destroying an oil storage tank control panel. Even that simple act shows something big. Russian resistance is rising. This organization alone has claimed over 100 sabotage operations, all overlooked by state media and removed from record. The Kremlin's answer? Silence channels. Silence independent news. Turn off VPNs. Internet lockdown. All resistance disappears when it's invisible. At least not formally. Putin's new front. Against the truth, not Ukraine. Over the past year, Russia has quietly built the sovereign internet, according to cybersecurity experts. A digital barrier disconnects the country from the internet. Modern firewalls, surveillance software, and filtering algorithms form an iron curtain. Real-time testing is underway. Border region temporary maintenance shutdowns are growing. Blocking social media, foreign news sites, and independent journalism platforms is systematic. Even Signal and WhatsApp experience sporadic outages. The Russian regime's purpose is simple. Imagine a world where Putin wins, the economy booms, and sabotage doesn't exist. Information is filtered in this digital fortress. Dissent disappears. Only one voice remains. Kremlin. Putin has caused a more perilous situation. Internal fear. Recent revelations from Moscow show Russia's intelligence services are panicking. The Kremlin no longer hunts foreign spies. Hunting itself. Commanders, officials, and advisors are suspected traitors. No one is safe while paranoia rules. Sources say Putin's inner circle receives severely filtered reports. Dreamy accounts of development and victory. A phenomenon called the yes man effect. As fear grows, truth declines. Putin's decisions are made in a lie echo chamber. He thinks the fight is going well because of that. So he smiles as his army burns. Beyond his stillness, reality is different. Ukrainian forces have repelled Russian assaults at Novashkova in the Donbass under intense pressure. All sectors of Pokrovsk are battling. West, North, Central, East. Russian forces momentarily hoist their flag in one district, but Ukrainian FP-5 drones destroy it hours later. The situation is unstable, but Ukraine's defenders hold. These newly entrenched fronts are expertly coordinated, unlike the horrific sieges of Avdiivka and Bakhmut. Highly anticipated Russian encirclement efforts have failed. Even Russia's military bloggers, previously among the loudest victory cheerers, are quieting. Their channels are throttled. Their supply problem and unsuccessful offensive complaints were secretly removed from the internet. The Kremlin doesn't want Russians to realize its soldiers die for centimeters of land. So again, blackout. Russia's propaganda is destroying its economy while the war continues. Gazprom, Russia's energy giant, lost 160 billion rubles in the third quarter of 2025. Its cash flow is 232 billion rubles negative, draining faster than it earns. Gazprom once represented Russian power. Today, it represents degradation. Cracks are growing due to EU penalties, U.S. trade restrictions, and Asian partner withdrawal. India, one of Moscow's last energy sources, has halted fresh oil purchases due to compliance concerns. While Chinese shipments continue, satellite photography proves it. Russian shadow navy tankers secretly fueling Chinese ships off Malaysia. The oil empire is now shadowy. Putin resorts to censorship as the ruble declines and revenues plummet. Truth becomes the greatest threat when an economy collapses. Russians are quietly panicking under this digital attack. Once a window, the internet is now a wall. Western platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and X, previously Twitter, are blocked. Even local sites must use government-run servers that can be watched and shut down. You control the narrative by controlling the internet. Controlling the story controls thought. Total control is costly. The more Putin isolates his people, the more his government cracks. Underground networks expand. Resistance groups use satellite internet, encrypted radio broadcasts, and covert channels to bypass the Kremlin's digital barrier. Each firewall Putin installs, Ukraine sends another drone. A 12-point peace framework circulates quietly around European cities as Russia retreats into its echo chamber. Finland's plan calls for an immediate ceasefire, structured negotiations, halting the war lines, reconstruction with frozen Russian assets, and progressive sanctions removal if Moscow cooperates. President Zelensky calls it a ceasefire first, diplomacy later. This is not a final peace pact. A test. Checking whether Russia prioritizes cooperation or dominance. In the Kremlin, paranoia trumps peace. Putin's response was expected. Deflect, reject, deny. Diplomacy first, ceasefire afterward. His means of purchasing time, not peace. While he plays with words, his country burns, his economy falls, and his people are silenced. A unique global conference took place. Trump and Xi Jinping met for the first time in 6 years. The APEC Summit Conference focused on calming the U.S. China trade conflict. Russia was the true topic behind closed doors. Trump urged Xi to use his power over Putin to negotiate a ceasefire. Nodding, smiling, and calling the U.S. a partner and friend, Xi avoided mentioning Russia. Peaceful words without substance. Beijing plays both sides for now. Hidden trade with Russia while asking for stability. Cracks are appearing here too. China's shadow fleet dealings are tougher to disguise, and India's energy withdrawal sends a message to Moscow. Russia is withdrawing from the world gaze.